Hey YouTubers, I wanted to, for a long time, put together a video of some of my experiences in this industry that I absolutely love and am passionate about. But at the end, there are some of my worst fails and show disasters, so stay tuned. I've relied on YouTube a lot over the years, and I've appreciated all of the contributions from everyone, and I've learned a lot, and I felt it was time that maybe I could lend some of my experience. So, brief history, my company started in 1998. I was DJing church dances and some small weddings and corporate picnics and things like that, all out of a little 5x8 trailer. And to this day, I have never DJ'd a high school dance. I quit DJing about probably 5 years ago because all of our concerts and corporate events have really taken over. But when I started, it was my business, it was my passion, and no one working for you will ever have the same passion. They may have the same excitement, but not the same passion. At the time when I started, I was working as a paramedic, and that industry is absolutely filled with attitudes and egos. And when I was in paramedic school, one of my instructors gave me the best advice I ever heard. It's okay to be nice to people. And that has sort of guided me since then. And everyone I'm around, I try to be nice to. So my company grew into corporate audiovisuals, doing corporate events, fast folds, pipe and drape, truss and rigging, then live sound, regular staging, bigger mixers, mics, bigger audio, lighting, mobile trailer stages, large LED walls, online streaming. So we continued to grow and grow. And that was with the market as our industry was expanding we were kind of going along with the job requirements of what they needed and really trying to not have the client hire other companies for things that we could provide. I still don't want to do tents and chairs, but we've kind of taken over kind of our own production stuff. I am very fortunate to be in an industry and doing what I love to do, and a lot of my guys have told me that this is a job they think about when they're at their actual job, and so I feel fortunate to be able to be in the position that I'm in. So getting experience in this field, I recommend volunteering at a church or even getting paid to be at a church. Those mistakes are not as big and massive, and it's a great place to learn. Also finding a job with an in-house audiovisual company like Encore. That way you get a lot of experience, you learn how to deal with clients and talk to people, and then you get technical knowledge and education as well. In my industry, it's really important to always focus on how to solve the client problems, not coming up with reasons why those problems cannot be solved. Like Hollywood, this industry's math equation is the exact same. Make sure your talent percentage is always greater than your headache percentage. This kind of is helpful for anyone, and solve problems, be helpful, be proactive, don't gripe. This applies to not only client relations, but if you're working for someone, have those same attributes. So growing your business, safe growth with the shows. So if a client is asking for more lighting, see if you can afford to take money out of that job to buy more lighting. Then you'll have that lighting for the next show. The first 10 years of my business, all my revenue was going back into investing in the business and just slowly growing as we went. Competition. I feel fortunate that in my area we have a lot of production companies and companies that do just stage and lighting or just do sound and integration and things like that. And I feel really lucky that we all seem to have a good working relationship. I can call any one of them and ask to rent equipment, or sometimes they call me to rent equipment, and it seems that we have a good relationship in our town. I don't know how your region is or your area, but I hope it's the same. We kind of somewhat root for each other, because if we're successful, the other people are successful, because we'll do bigger shows and we'll need some of their equipment and they'll need some of our equipment. So another good mantra that I heard a long time ago is blowing out someone else's candle doesn't make yours brighter. And that really applies in this industry. I recommend not underbidding your competition. Sell yourself at either the lowest bid if they give you what the bids are, or better yet, sell yourself on charging more and have a good reason why. That's important, because it kills the industry if we just keep underbidding each other, and that just doesn't do anybody any good at all. Owning your own business, it's important to have insurance. And in a lot of cases, it's actually required, because if you're going to work for a city or a government agency or a school, they're going to want to see an insurance certificate of insurance with their name on it. And your insurance company can provide that. So having insurance is extremely important. Bite the bullet, buy the insurance that you need. Our guys are all under workers' comp, but that's really important too, because a lot of schools, government agencies are now asking for proof of workers' comp, and they'll be asking for workers' comp subrogation forms, and you can't get that if you don't have workers' comp. Be cautious though, because this is also retro. So we did a couple of events last year, and we had a client come to us and ask for our workers' comp proof from last year. It wasn't even really going into that job. So be careful with that. Sole prop or incorporating. We are an S Corp, and this is very protective, and it's also a good thing to be. Once you get to a certain revenue amount annually as a sole prop, that may put you on a sort of on the radar of audit, and so you may need to jump into the corporate environment. All right, so you have a couple different issues with large venues. In-house AV. This is a common situation. It used to be really bad. It was really difficult to work with some of the in-house AV. We have found in the last couple of years that it's been really pleasant and really easy. We can roll in and we will throw them a bone. We'll have them do the pipe and drape, or we'll have them do the fast fold screens or whatever. But it's been nice working with a lot of in the venues in Las Vegas and Southern California and Sacramento and the Bay Area. A lot of the in-house AV companies have really become a lot easier to deal with. One of our big issues is the local unions, and there are some convention centers and some other places that are union houses. That's what they're called. I won't talk about specifics really of location, but we were recently at a convention center for a 5-day show, and it was a pretty large load-in with 3 different trucks. And we weren't allowed to touch our equipment once we pulled up to the dock. It was one union that would unload the equipment, push it literally 12 feet, and then another union would take the gear upstairs, and then they would build it. There was about 12 union members total, and in 5 days, the bill to the client was $160,000 just for the union bill. Recently, we were at another convention center where the union met us at the dock, and they had a forklift with a scale on it, and they were weighing the gear, and one union member helped push one of our probably 12 road cases, and there was a bill for $6,000 for that union to help us, which they didn't, move into the convention center. So be really careful about that, and if you're going to invoice your client, put on there on the bottom, you are not responsible for in-house fees, power fees, or union fees. And you could add parking if you want to as well, because sometimes that gets really expensive as well. Starting small business, start building your credit as soon as you can. Get an American Express card in your company name if you can, and this will help you build credit as a business. This will allow you to get loans and other things that will help you increase your inventory. Okay, so here is some failures that we've had and some tragedies that we've had, sort of, and some big, big lessons. We were doing a large show down in Vallejo probably 2 years ago, and we did sound check the day before, and everything was working great. We were using a very large generator. It was like a 125 kVA, because we were running lighting, video wall, and a very large PA on it. And everything was fine for setup day, rolling lighting, LED wall, everything worked great. The next morning, Sunday morning, we roll in at 7:30 for the show day, and the generator doesn't turn over. So we voltmeter the batteries and figure out that the batteries were completely dead, and we couldn't even jump start it because they were so damaged and dead. So Talitha, my wife, she had to go to an open commercial truck store to find the batteries that would fit at 7:30 in the morning on a Sunday morning. Somehow we were able to get the batteries reinstalled and fixed, and then obviously they were about $800 for both batteries, but we got a refund from the generator rental. So that was something that was crazy. We also had another generator issue where the AC regulator went out on it, and as the show was doing sound check, the generator volted up to 152 volts, and we saw that on our power distro across all three legs of our three-phase. And one of the guitar amps, it was a Fender Twin, started smoking and literally caught on fire. Our gear was okay because all of it is JBL and Midas, and it's all designed for European voltage of 208. So our gear was okay, but that poor little Fender Twin could not take it. So our client obviously had to buy them a new guitar amp. So you're going to have some failures that you cannot foresee, but just be ready. Another event that we had many years ago, probably 20 years ago, I was sort of just doing lighting and sound for a large event of chaplains. It was about 1,000 international chaplains from all over the world in this room, and it was starting out with a person singing. I was playing a backing track for them to sing to, and the program that I was using was brand new, that I didn't really know the program all that great. And the song stopped about 30 seconds into a 3-minute song. And I froze, but the singer sort of looked over at me wondering what happened to their track and realized they just need to keep singing. And so they did a cappella for the next 2.5 minutes on a song that they didn't really know the timing all that great, but it worked out in the end, but I wanted to just actually go behind the building and die. It was absolutely terrible. Client came up and said, I understand technical failures, I have no problem, and I appreciate you not trying to make up for it by trying to catch up on the song, because that would have made it worse. So that was a pretty intense situation. Another incident, I was DJing for a bride that had just got her doctorate degree in classic literature. And I start the reception dancing with I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor. It's a great song. It's very motivating for the crowd. 30 seconds into it, she comes up and says, how about no more breakup songs? I didn't even really know that that was a breakup song. And so for the whole rest of the 3-hour reception, it was a real mind game of what is this song about? What are these lyrics about? And it was actually a very long reception for that exact reason. Another, probably the worst thing that has happened is a couple years ago, quite a few years ago, I had a bride call me on the phone and booked me for her wedding. And I just put it on the calendar, and we were looking forward. We didn't have a whole lot of meetings beforehand. I never met her. It was just all over email. And one Friday afternoon, I'm driving around in Sacramento, and I get a phone call from somebody I didn't know. And I pick it up, and she goes, this is so-and-so's mom. Are you here? And I looked at the clock, I looked at the day, it was Friday. I said, no, we're not doing the reception, we're not doing the rehearsal dinner. We're just DJing tomorrow for the wedding. She says, the wedding is today, and the ceremony starts in 30 minutes. We absolutely looked at each other, turned white as a ghost, started apologizing. We will get there as soon as we can. And I could hear the bride sort of starting to cry in the background. And it put me in a whole new mindset of, it was unbelievable. So we rushed as fast as we could to our little tiny warehouse and started throwing gear into the truck while I was calling as many DJs as I knew at the time to see if they could get up to this location and at least set up a ceremony system. And rushed home, got changed, and then ran up to this venue that was probably a good 40 minutes away. By the time we got there, the ceremony was over, the cocktails were over, and the reception was about 30% done. We roll in. I'd never met the bride before. We roll in and set up quietly in the corner of the reception area our sound system and my facade and my DJ setup in about 17 minutes, not making eye contact with anyone because I just felt absolutely terrible. The bridesmaid met us in the parking lot and encouraged us by saying, thank you for showing up. I don't know if I would have had the courage to show up. So we started playing music, and I crawled over to the bride, literally crawled behind the head table, introduced myself, and apologized up and down, saying, there are no words in the English language to describe how I feel right now. You will get your full deposit back. This is free. I will just continue. And she said, it's okay. She was very calm. So about 20 minutes after that, I had to introduce the bridal party with all the energy as normal. And it was one of the most challenging days of my life. It was absolutely very, very just crazy and intense. So as soon as the dancing started, dinner was over, dancing started, everything went fine. The groom came up to me near the end and said, I don't want to talk about it. Here's another, couple $100. Keep the deposit. You did a great job for the part that you were here, which was very, very noble of him. That was cool. I found out later that the ceremony, she was part of a choral group at the local college, and they all stood up and sang a cappella for her entrance. That wouldn't have happened if our sound system was there. The cocktail hour, the venue had speakers on their patio, so they played light jazz music. So the audience had no clue that the DJ wasn't there. As soon as we started to roll in and start setting up, nobody really realized that we were literally an hour and a half late. They just thought this was just normal. So the perception of what the audience thinks is usually different than what you think. But it was pretty life-changing that the date was on a Friday, which I just assumed it was a wedding, so it was on Saturday. So I did not check that carefully. I have every day since then, and that was many, many years ago. So keep up the good work, everyone. Thank you so much for your contributions on YouTube. I look forward to seeing your next videos. Thanks for watching.